Hey, it's Sarah Jane. I'm a little bit late today on today's topic, which is how do we trust, or how do we shift our perspective when things look like full catastrophe living right now. I have had to come inside because there's a lot of solar flares. We've had a full moon. The earth is shaking us up. And my sister's just said, poor St. Martin. She used to live in St. Martin, and it's the whole of the Caribbean's really been smacked around by this latest turbulence, to say, put it mildly. And she's sitting in Florida right now with many of my other friends, wondering if her house is going to be standing by the time Hurricane Irma pushes through. So I really want to speak to this thing, and first of all too, if you're joining this conversation, thank you. Tag a fellow true naturer, and let's get this conversation going, and just post in the comments so we can really hold this space in intentional creativity, in manifesting that the people and the animals are safe that are in the eye of the storm right now. And tell me, by doing that, just let's show some support in just celebrating a small win. Hi Sally Ann, just a small win that you maybe had this week, to just, if you woke up today and you're breathing and you're listening to this, that's something to celebrate. There's something to really have appreciation about. Hi Joanne, nice to see you here. So tag someone, give me some love. Let's get this conversation going, and let's really set the intention to send good vibes and healing to all the people and animals and nature herself that's been affected by these latest weather patterns. And just to remember too that trust is a verb, and I stand for the light workers, the action takers, the trust makers, that trust that everything is in divine order, and part of that is the natural order of chaos. And also just to remember that trust is a verb. So type in the comments one thing that you are grateful or in appreciation for today, and let's get this love face going, because trust really is a verb. It comes, so is love. It comes from that feeling of feeling yourself, and by just knowing that you are whole and complete and exactly where you are right now, and that our results really reflect our commitment. And just by the spelling in the word, hi Kelly, by appreciating something, by sending our intention towards raising consciousness up, we are impregnating that desire out into the universal field, and this is how we're changing things, and we're being shook up right now. I'm doing that since the beginning. Thank you, Joanne. So if you're joining this conversation or you're listening to the replay, just type in the comments below one thing that you are celebrating today, a small win, and it could be with as significant as that you got out of bed today. My people that I work with, that they know trauma, they know how, I know sometimes it's the most difficult thing is to just trust that you can go on another day. And this commitment has to come from on all four areas. The mental commitment, that you're going to do this no matter how chaotic and how catastrophic things look right now. I love that word, catastrophizing. I think John Kabat-Zinn wrote a book about that, full catastrophe living. A great read. I highly recommend it. So commitment on the mental, on the physical, on the emotional, and who knows what the fourth commitment is to really living full out, because we need to all four of these to be working in synchronistic or synergy. I appreciate you too, Joanne. Thank you for commenting. So what does it take to have actual real life freedom in this world, regardless of what's going on around you? And I'll wait for you. Type that in the answer. Type your answer in below. So we need the mental commitment, we need the emotional commitment, we need the physical commitment. We need to trust that we're committed, trusting in our bodies, trusting in ourselves, trusting in other people, trusting in life itself, and trust in God, trusting in having faith that no matter how crazy things look, in the shake-up, we're moving and blowing away. These storms are blowing away all this old 3D reality, all the old paradigms that aren't working anymore. So what's your paradigm shift in appreciation today? Hi Kimberly, nice to see you here. And type in the comment below, what is the fourth commitment to full out living? Hi Juliet. And I'll give you a hint, it has to do with money. Is we need resources in order to give back. We need resources in order to live in a lifestyle that is comfortable, that is safe. And I appreciate that every day, that I wake up and I have a warm bed to sleep in, I have running water. So what are some of the things that you're appreciating today in regards to having resources? And if you're listening to this right now, hi Kuas, if you don't feel like you have resources, if you are feeling lack and scarcity, if you are, kind of worrying about your future, what's the one thing that you can do in regards to your financial commitment to become more resourceful? A new beginning for the new energy. I love that, Joanne. Yes, it really does feel like a new beginning. It's a change of seasons. It's really warm and balmy here today. And the seasons are, again, a great marker in how we can amplify the ease and grace and flow into new times, into a new paradigm of being. And also to look at, in order for us to have healthy relationships, in the matrix work that I do in family constellations, groups need some give and take. This is the ebb and the flow that nature shows us. Always in the eye of the storm is the calm. Always when some places are being battered, other places, it's this cause and effect all the time. And when I just look at, the devastation of the fires that have just happened in South Africa, in Knysna, or if we look at Hurricane Harvey and the floods in India as well, and the animals and the people that have been displaced and lost everything in the material world, and in some cases lost their lives. I think it's important to look and remember that full catastrophe living really is that nature, the natural forces that sometimes look disastrous because we have been out of congruence, out of attunement and an alignment with being part of nature. We're very much against nature. We're pushing back oceans. We're excavating the soil. We're doing so much that's out of congruence. And this is, again, for me, it's just been a big shake-up and a big reminder to look at where am I out of alignment with not only my own physicality, but the physicality of the earth and the ground that I live on and the relationships that I have. And I think that it's always in disasters like this, which actually, if we get out of the conclusion that it's disastrous, that it's just nature that's balancing where we've been out of alignment, the thing that I noticed the most, and I saw this in Knysna, is how people come together. People were opening up their homes. It's just such a deep reminder of how, and an extraordinary example of heroic living, of the hero's journey, of our interconnectedness, that we can go so much further together than apart. We're not supposed to try and do life on our own. We need tribe, we need community. And we are part of this macrocosm that is a living, breathing blue planet that we're killing. And again, we're being reminded, the year of 2017, it's the year of the cockerel. It's saying cockle-diddle-doo, wakey, wakey. And it's the fire rooster. So we're seeing this very much, the shadow, the division between the shadow and the light, and the contrasts between our own choices that we're making and how it's impacting on the collective. So as much as things are desperate and necessary taking right now, and we might not like it because it's shaking up our stability and it's making us really look at those parts. Sometimes we really need to give more, and other times we need to be willing to ask for what we need and take. And that's just, for me, how life is. It is what it is. But sometimes this sort of giving, oopsie, it says my storage is almost full. This giving and taking, it gets very out of balance, doesn't it? Systems don't like that. Nature is a system. We have river systems, we have air systems, we have natural systems. Our body is made up of millions of meridians and pathways, and there are systems that need to be communicating and working together in order to optimize life, and in a lot of places to optimize the unlife, the death part of it, which is very much a part of this human experience of living in a physical body. Hello, Darlene. Tanya, nice for you to join me on a Friday. Type your comments and questions below. I'd love to get your contribution on this conversation, because these are always kind of like just an opportunity for me to be verbally processing what's going on in my life, and also to hopefully support you in creating more calm in this very chaotic time right now. So just remember, that life gives life, and as much as we are a gift to life, life is giving to us all the time, and there's a time for ebb and flow. Ebb and flow, that's what it's all about. And sometimes this giving and taking, it gets very out of balance, which is what we're seeing now. We have to commit to righting some of the incongruences of our forefathers, and we are the ancestors of future generations. If there are going to be future generations, if we're going to survive as a species, we need to really take a good honest look at what are we committing to, and what are the choices that we're making, and how are they going to impact not only us now but the future of the planet. And systems don't like it when they get out of balance. They can't sustain it for very long. They can we can sustain it for a while. It's the same in my work with trauma resolution and getting people and animals to return to trust. We can keep pushing through, and we can keep not listening to our bodies, and we can keep doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing. But eventually, time doesn't heal, it conceals. And eventually our bodies are going to say no, just like the body of the earth, just as the body of water, the great oceans, the river systems, they're saying no. They're asking us to look at this, because we've created this crisis as a collective, as a species. And eventually a balance in the giving and the taking is going to have to reassert itself. And this is what we're seeing now in the natural systems, in the natural order of things. And I think it's also why so many communities like New York, when we think about 9/11 and the floods in New Orleans a couple of years back, or the drought in South Africa last year, which impacted so many, but it also brought us together as this big global tribe. They're beyond borders, beyond separation. We belong to the family of humanity, and that gives me hope. It really gives me hope. And again, with these hurricanes, people are stepping up. They're returning to the heart. They're returning to trust. And I love that. I love that, because it reminds me that we can change things. And it's always this balance of giving and taking, and it feels so good to be a part of something that's greater than yourself. I always say, if you can't get out of bed for yourself in the morning, you need to have a bigger vision. You need a bigger purpose. I get up because it's bigger than me on the days when I can't do it for myself. Here, it's the beginning of autumn. Beautiful, Joanne. One day I hope to visit Montreal. There's a lot of ex-Rhodesians and Zimbabweans and South Africans living in Canada, and Montreal looks beautiful. So, this is this thing about balance and looking at full catastrophe living. I really want to speak to that more today, and I would love your input on this. Hello, Christina. Happy Friday. And if you're just joining this conversation, please type in the comments below one thing that you're celebrating, a small win. And it can be as small as you're here and you have Wi-Fi and you have resources to be able to join this conversation. I think we're so quick to go to the negative, aren't we? And we don't take enough time to actually appreciate our small wins. Like I can hear the birds singing outside, and I have electricity, and I have running water, and I have a body and a voice to be able to speak with you today, and technology to support it. So this is about co-creation, about collaboration, and this is the same balance that serves solid partnerships, whether it's in your personal life, in your business, in your body of work, in your body, your physical body. The thing that keeps us asking to be better, because I think that's the one thing we have in common, is we all want better. We want better lives for ourselves and our families. We want better for the collective. I want better for the way that we treat animals. I want better in how we're cooperating from, are you with me? Do we have a conversation? And being able to ebb and flow, give and take, listen and receive before we speak. And all systems have patterns that they prefer. So it's in the service for me. It's in the reciprocity. It's in the dignity. It's in the integrity and the tensegrity of the physicality of the times that we're living in. Of all of us. We're strong and we're all weak. It's the shadow and the light. It's the yin and the yang. And we came fully installed with the systems. And then we got walked over by life. And life, we walked on life. And we're so quick to go to the negative. And I want you to look at all things as equal today. This is what the animals show me. This time next week, I'll be at Emoya with over 40 big, beautiful cats that are back from horrendous conditions. And I'm going to be working on the trust process with them. And I'm just so, I'm so looking forward to giving back more and giving these tools to more people so that we can create a kind of planet. So back to systems. So what I was saying is that we all have patterns and pathways, and we all, being a system, a body made up of systems, being in the systems of governments and fiduciary systems, everything works on systems, and we prefer certain systems to others. And if we don't have these patterns and pathways, these systems become unhealthy for everyone, and it's very unsustainable in the long run. So this is really the conversation today, as I think about all my friends that are in that sort of pathway of Hurricane Irma, and people that are recovering from the systems being shook up a little bit, and the air being moved and the fire burning things away. So that we can really rise up like that phoenix rising and plant new seeds. So I see this time after time within families, and the insight for me is that we have to return to our hearts. We have to return to trust. We have to live in our true nature, and we have to realize that now everything is impermanent. There is no, in Maslow's theory, that the basic essentials are to keep ourselves alive. We need to feel secure before we can start this higher thinking of how we're going to contribute or give back. And sometimes it's in that place where you think you can't give back that we turn things back into alignment. And for me, it's realizing that this emptiness a lot of people have been coming through my clinic this week saying is all we have. Celebrate the small wins. That's really the message for today. This is what the trust process is all about. Trust, return to trust. What does trust look like for you? And being in that area of trust or distrust or skepticism or cynicism, whatever's going on for you, it's a muscle. It's a verb. And we have to be able to be the witnesser to what's going on around us, and also what's going on in our own life, behind the doing self. And this is in the matrices. This is in the collective. This is in the constellations. It's in the stars. It's in the solar system. It's in the weather systems. It's in the family systems. The order, the systems, the dance. It's all on a very unconscious level, but it likes to be organized. And sometimes we need to see disorganization and chaos and full catastrophe living in order to realize that we need to adjust our systems to our new way of being. And this is the theme for September. It's about adjustments. I spoke about that a couple of days ago. So, you know, when these systems aren't maintained, there's always dysfunction. This is where I'm maintenance and preventative medicine is all in the foundations of the work that I do. Because it doesn't matter what you throw at yourself to try and write something and get it a quick fix and get out of pain. We need to sit in the pain. We need to really look at this. You tell me. I will, Joanna. It's on my bucket list. I'll actually be in Florida in December. I'm going to come work with some of the big cats there. And I'm also going to spend some time with my sister. So I'm not quite coming up to you yet, but what would it take? Who knows? So I feel like I've been going on for a while, but I really want to just encourage you today to celebrate your small wins. Celebrate that you are here. Celebrate the incremental shifts. It's like inch by inch is a cinch. 1 degree shifts are the only way that we create permanent change. Hi, Cecilia. I haven't seen you for ages. How are you doing? Let me know one win that you're celebrating today. And look at where can you deepen into trusting that there's some adjustments that need to be made in your life. And start small. You don't want to start on stuff that's sort of a level 10 of urgency. Start with the one in the middle. That you can commit on all those 4 levels: mental, the physical, the emotional, and the financial, in the resources, and where you can get more resourceful in organizing yourself for better flow and for the world to flow, and for us to do some regeneration and rebuilding, because there's a lot of rebuilding that needs to be done in our system of being human. And to look at where you can practice some radical self-care or some maintenance, and know that it's time we have to stop living from blind reactivity. You can't bury your head in the sand. We can't sit here and meditate on our yoga mats or pretend that there isn't great upheaval happening around the planet. This is our family. This is the global family, and we change things by being responsible and making a commitment to do the best we can, to do better than we did the day before. This is what I ask every morning when I get up. Part of my mantra is, how can I be and do better than I did yesterday? And I listen to what needs to happen. Some days I screw it up completely. Other days I get things right. But it's always about coming back to this appreciation that you're willing to ask and get out of this reactive state that's very blinded to the big picture. This is where we as a global village have to come together and stop repeating the past. Stop living from someone else's unconsciousness to stay where you are. And this is, Hellinger's work. I love Hellinger's work with family constellations, and he says that we have to inquire into what's really going on here, and specifically, is this distress being maintained? Is this catastrophic living being maintained by our old patterns and pathways and old stories that we're actually feeding it? This is anti-movements. They never, you can never get a win-win when you're in judgment, and we need to really feel all of this. I believe this is what I'm asking for, is to feel more, if that's even possible. There's always infinite possibilities and infinite choices, and the power of choice is yours to look at. Where am I out of honoring? Where am I being inclusive, and where am I actually going into separation? And looking at what is respect, the respect, the reverence, the appreciation of belonging. It's part of our human nature. We're not, as I said before, we're not designed to be separate. And we have to really honor and have great reverence for the Great Spirit, and for the Great Pachamama, and for the Yin and for the Yang, of respecting seniority and roles and contribution, and also the balance of giving and taking, and looking at how can I right the wrongs without vengeful acts or benevolence, but beneficence in all of this. The old has to go, Joanne says, and let the new spaces for its coming in our life. Absolutely. And that requires us killing off the old parts, letting the old parts die, the old stories, The old paradigms die off in us, which is terrifying to our ego, Joanne. It's, you know, it's terrifying because our mind thinks we're going to kill it. And we're not, you know, when your mind gets that it's not going to die, then we have cooperation, and we have inspiration through that communication with our bodies, with our minds and our hearts. And this is the great divide, where we really can take personal responsibility for our part that we're playing. And I think that's the universe's biggest lesson. And it's also the biggest curveball, is the surrender. It's the giving up of exactly what you're saying. And it is painful. But life is not about staying the same. That's stagnancy. To not feel, I would rather feel than flatline any day. Even though there are moments when you're in it, that's the last thing you want. That's rigidity. And this is the time for adjusting. Adjusting to look at, where are we still resisting? Where are we still burying our heads in the sand and pretending that everything's going to be fine? That's not the same as trust. You know, blind faith is blind faith. It's not faith in trusting that there is a bigger universal force. Call that God, call it Buddha or Allah or Muhammad or whatever you want, but that we need to trust and have faith in that. Hello, Kevin Ellis, are you still in London? So the present asks us to really engage with a beginner's mind, to have the curiosity of a child, to have the compassion to tread gently on ourselves, just like those beautiful sheep that you spend so much time with, Tanya. You know, they're so gentle in their nature, and they're saying to us, be gentle on yourself. And animals and children are so good at teaching us how to live fully in the present, to not be afraid. I spoke to a couple of amazing, powerful, incredible women that have been givers their whole lives. They've been in service, in nursing, and in teaching, and in their communities for 30, 40 years. And it's a great, very real fear when things fall away and we don't know what the future holds for us. And we want to control, and by controlling, we restrict. We're not adjusting. So adjustment is about the compassionate side of being as gentle as a lamb, and to not be afraid when you're afraid. You know, you can't say don't be afraid of having no home or being homeless. And I think those are the three biggest fears that we have, is death and homelessness, or being incarcerated, being put in jail. And those are obviously part of the big ones of the adverse childhood experiences. So just know, nobody can prevent you from going anywhere. And we don't want to spiritually bypass. We don't want to physically bypass that experience, although there's been a ton of those that I would have rather not experienced, like bankruptcy and brain tumors and being homeless. I just had less home now that I realized to take care of. So it's really just about adjusting your perspective and not self-flagellating. You know, I'm not talking about beating yourself up, but really fully feeling everything, so that you're not living in the mind and creating pain that you don't have to create. Because then you can really become deeply attuned to what you or your child or your lover or your animals are needing or asking for of you, and what your body is needing from you right now. And not from a lack, but from a supportive place of that maintenance and adjustment of the interconnected systems. So you're all very quiet. Give me some love, give me some hearts, give me some thumbs up if this is as fun for you as it is fun for me, to just be able to hold the joy of this conversation alongside the fact that somewhere else on the other side of the world, people are literally, and animals are fighting for their life, fighting for the freedom to be alive, and to, I think, to make sense as well of how to be present, really, how to be present with what is in this moment. What makes you come alive? What makes you come alive? Love yourself and trust. This is the real freedom. Joanna, I love you for saying that. And I am totally in support of the real freedom being whatever that is. Just as success for one person looks different to success for another person. So my insight on the way is not to control that version of what you think perfection is, for example, or success is, or freedom is, but to choose what it is for you moment by moment. It's about being present with what is, and connecting to that. It's not always easy to connect when you're disconnected because you're in some kind of shock or trauma. And I have a little bee that I need to let out of my window. Little honeybee, so beautiful, animal totem medicine. And bee is so beautiful at that. If you look at the eight side, the way the sacred geometry of bee, how bee builds a hive, and that each bee, whether you're a worker bee or whatever it is, they all know their place. And bee right now is asking me to remind you to look at the sweetness in your life. Where are you avoiding having the sweet life? Where are you feeling like your life is not sweet? And how can you use that energy of bee medicine to bring in that, again, adjustment back to the sacred geometric code, your source code, your divine blueprint that is to live your best life. I know that sounds really cliche, and I'm all about action. I'm not if you want Deepak Chopra to just meditate, you can't meditate yourself into abundance, and I love him. But this requires inspired daily, minute by minute, second by second choices that are always like, what would kindness do in this situation? What would I do if I was no longer in the avoidance of feeling? And that's the presence. That's the presence of trusting that in this moment all my needs are met. And I'm having it now. Hello, bee. And now here's a moth. So, how's this resonating? I enjoy to listen to you. Thank you, Joanne. I think I've been going on and on a little bit again. Something short is not something that I'm very good at. I stopped trying a long time ago to go, okay, marketing gurus say don't spend more than 10 minutes on here. I'm not marketing, I'm not selling anything, I'm just showing up in support. And when you're ready to work with me, or I can contribute in a deeper way, you know how to get hold of me. So I'm not here to upsell or pre-sell or prepay or anything. I'm just here to remind you to trust that you're not alone. So just know, all the fear-based ego crap that keeps us, it keeps us away from living with ease and joy and grace and authenticity and honesty with ourselves and with others, and doing the work. And nature is our best medicine. And I've just sort of been reflecting on this, that in order for these new gifts of creation to dawn, as you said, Joanna, the old must be blown away or washed away. Water is such a great purifier. The old has to dissolve. Hello, Sandeep. How are you, beautiful man? So yeah, look at the elementals. Fire. We're supposed to have, our fire is supposed to be burning in our hearts, and we need to stoke the fire. We need to fuel the fire with the wood. Because if we're not cutting back the dead wood to feed the fire, what happens? We have wildfires. We have too much heat in our body. Sandeep, I know you get this with the Ayurvedic part of my work and what you're creating. But hurricanes, water is all the watery emotional stuff that the moon has just brought up. And the fires and the hurricanes in the physicality, in the physical world right now, hello, Gail, are really just that, again, that big download, that huge evidential, the reminder for all of us to look, that we have to clear away, as Joanna said, all these outdated paradigms and belief systems that many people, and I'm not saying that I'm not part of that, because I am, but we're all part of that disillusionment and the dissolution of the old stories that have to go. We have to go through the feeling of the pain, of the despair, of bewilderment, of absolute shock and disbelief at what's going on in the world, and be committed to changing it. Believe in yourself. Hi, Mariette. Hi, Gail. I love your new puppy, Gail. She looks adorable, and Thalia is so wanting a new dog at the moment, and insists that it has to come from a shelter, which makes me very happy. That at least some of the things in my bad parenting have contributed her to making better choices. So that's it. What else did I want to say? And if you have any questions, hi Tracy. If you have any questions, just let me know. But you know, this is it. We're being given so many reference points, so many so much visible proof right now that we really, really, really need to look at where do we need to make adjustments to everything, and also hold space and hold prayer and intention. And for those that are grieving right now, I've had clients that have lost their animals this week, that have had to choose to assist their animals in dying. I've had people in hospice that are ready to leave, and I think that that's part of this bewilderment, is to know that we are fragile in our humanness, and we do make mistakes, but we also have infinite choice to course correct and look at everything as just this beautiful shake up, saying wakey wakey, fire rooster. The natural systems are all telling us to create space for new realities and perspectives and miracles, so that they can come to the surface, just as the watery emotions of the full moon and the water that's literally cleansing and purifying parts of the world. And to hold in that space, time for grief. There's cycles of grief, and we can't bypass them. They're not there to be rushed. They're there to be revered. And when we're mourning the loss of life, whether that's of a home that grew our children or a physical life, loss is loss, and it deserves the space to be whatever it needs to be in your own unique way. And for each of us that are purging the death of the old story, there's always grief when things die inside of us too. And when we're purging the losses of our known realities, everything that used to be predictable and safe, that is no longer predictable or safe, we need to be brave. We have to be brave, and we have to tap in and access the parts and adjust in our body systems, to remind our nervous system, to remind our kidneys, who don't know the difference between fear and excitement, to get into a space of regeneration. And it doesn't mean the things we desire are lost or gone forever, or that any degree of hope has to be laid to rest. It's about trusting that the burning away of all the old is an opportunity for each and every single one of us right now to release and let go and surrender and deepen into trust that the way is what it's going to be for you, and the outcome we're always looking for is better for us to find our way to reach out and connect with other people. So if you're overwhelmed right now, if you're feeling lost, if you have lost, if you're feeling unsafe, just trust. And I love that. I heard a mantra the other day, I can't remember, but it just so resonated, and I invite you to just do that right now with me. Is just say, I deeply accept that I will always get everything I desire, no matter how my journey unfolds or how catastrophic it looks right now. I'm choosing better. And just allow that vibration of trust and faith and harmony and patience, because it takes patience. It's going to take patience and persistence and presence to rebuild ourselves and our physical bodies, to rebuild our communities, to rebuild our trust in each other, in life. So I hope you use that mantra, and may we just all allow those old realities that are burning away and being washed away to just offer great reverence and honoring and ceremony, as well as those heartfelt grief felt goodbyes, to just have gratitude and appreciation for all the gifts that are being provided and offered up to us second by second to be the building blocks for a new earth, a new emerging 5D reality. So tread gently on yourselves. Happy Friday wherever you are, and let me know what you're appreciating today. Just know that you are a lighthouse. So shine your light where it's needed. Give generously of your resources. Get resourceful. And just celebrate those small wins, because when we lead with generosity and we keep adjusting ourselves and we adjust our environment to better, everything changes. So, hi Janelle. Nice to see you, and goodbye. Please comment, give me your questions, celebrate your wins, and know that you are so loved and so supported. I see you, I honor you, and I love you. Mwah. Take care. Happy weekend.